Imagine finding a little girl with fangs at your doorstep on a freezing winter night. Most people would slam the door in terror. You're Mara Sinclair, a 28-year-old librarian living alone in a cottage on the outskirts of Blackwood Village. You've always been different, able to sense emotions, read the truth in people's hearts. It's a gift that's made you cautious, isolated, preferring books to people. Tonight, you're closing your curtains against the snow when you hear scratching at your door. You open it to find a child, maybe 4 years old, shivering in a thin dress, bare feet blue with cold. Her eyes are crimson red. When she opens her mouth to speak, you see small fangs. She's a vampire child, abandoned, starving, terrified. Every logical thought screams danger, but your gift reads only innocence and desperate fear. So you do the unthinkable. You bring her inside. You feed her warm soup, wrap her in blankets, let her sleep by the fire. You name her Luna because she arrived under a full moon. What you don't know is that Luna is the daughter of Dominic Thorne, the alpha vampire king who rules the Shadow Territories with absolute power. She was kidnapped 2 weeks ago by enemies who wanted to destroy him. He's been searching desperately, growing more dangerous with each passing day. When he finally tracks Luna's scent to your cottage, he expects to find enemies or a corpse. Instead, he finds his daughter safe, happy, and clinging to a human woman who showed her kindness when the world showed her only cruelty. And Dominic Thorne doesn't forget debts. He also doesn't let go of people who prove they can be trusted with what he loves most. Mara Sinclair was reaching for her curtains when she heard the scratching. Soft, hesitant, barely audible over the howling wind, like something small trying desperately to get attention. She froze, listening. The scratching came again, accompanied by a sound that made her heart clench, a child whimpering. Mara crossed to the door and opened it without thinking. A little girl stood on the doorstep, shivering violently in the snow. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old, wearing only a thin white dress that was torn and dirty. Her feet were bare, toes blue with cold. Long dark hair hung in tangles around a pale face. But it was her eyes that stopped Mara's breath, crimson red, glowing faintly in the darkness. The child opened her mouth to speak, and Mara saw small fangs. Vampire. Every rational instinct screamed to slam the door, to protect herself, to call the village guard. Vampires were monsters. Everyone knew that. Especially vampire children who hadn't learned to control their bloodlust. But Mara's gift, her ability to sense emotions and truth, read only innocence, terror, and desperate cold. This wasn't a monster. This was a frightened child freezing to death. "Please," the little girl whispered, voice trembling. "I'm so cold. Everyone keeps running away. Please don't run away." Mara made a decision that would change everything. She scooped the child into her arms and pulled her inside, kicking the door shut against the storm. The little girl was so cold, she felt like ice. Mara wrapped her in a thick blanket and carried her to the fireplace, building up the flames quickly. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Mara asked gently. The child just shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It's okay. You don't have to tell me." Mara rubbed the girl's frozen feet carefully. "How long were you out there?" "Days," the child whispered. "Bad men took me. Then they left me. I tried to find home, but I don't know where home is. Everyone I asked for help screamed and ran away." Mara's heart broke. She could imagine it perfectly, a vampire child appearing at doors, people seeing Fangs and reacting with terror. "You're safe now," Mara said firmly. "I'm not going to hurt you or send you away. Let's get you warm and fed." She heated soup and bread, unsure if vampire children ate regular food. But the girl devoured everything gratefully, and gradually the blue tinge left her skin. "Do your parents know where you are?" Mara asked carefully. The child's eyes filled with tears again. "Papa is looking for me. I know he is, but I got lost, and I can't find him, and I'm scared." "We'll find him," Mara promised. "Tomorrow, when the storm clears, we'll ask around the village. Someone must know vampire families in the area." The child looked at her with something like wonder. "You're not scared of me?" "Should I be?" Mara asked. "Everyone else was." "Well, I'm not everyone else." Mara smiled. "You're just a little girl who got lost and needed help. That's all that matters." The child launched herself at Mara, hugging her tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for not being scared." Mara held her close. "You need a name for tonight. How about Luna? Because you came to me under the full moon." "Luna," the child repeated, testing it. Then she smiled, a genuine, happy smile. "I like it." That night, Luna fell asleep curled against Mara on the couch, finally warm and safe. Mara stayed awake longer, stroking the child's dark hair, wondering what she'd gotten herself into. Her gift sensed something else about Luna, something powerful sleeping beneath the surface. This wasn't just any vampire child. This was someone important. Somewhere out there, someone was looking for her desperately. Mara just hoped that when they found Luna, they'd understand that she'd meant only kindness. Mara woke to the sound of her door splintering. She jerked upright, heart hammering. Luna still slept beside her, exhausted from her ordeal. The door crashed open, torn completely off its hinges. A man stood in the doorway, though man felt inadequate. He was massive, easily 6'7", with a warrior's build and presence that radiated lethal power. Long black hair, sharp features, storm gray eyes that currently glowed red with fury. He wore dark armor and a long coat, and moved with predatory grace that made every instinct Mara had screamed danger. Vampire. Ancient vampire. Alpha. His eyes locked on Luna, and his expression transformed from rage to desperate relief. "Luna," he breathed, crossing the room in 2 strides. Luna woke, saw him, and screamed with joy. "Papa!" She launched herself at him, and he caught her, crushing her against his chest, his eyes closed, body shaking. 2 weeks, he said roughly. 2 weeks I've been searching. I thought—" His voice cracked. "I thought you were dead." "Bad men took me," Luna said, clinging to him. "They hurt me and left me in the snow. But Mara found me. She gave me soup and blankets and didn't run away even though I have fangs." The vampire's eyes opened and fixed on Mara with unsettling intensity. Mara stood slowly, very aware that she was alone with an apex predator who'd just broken into her home. "You're Mara," he said. Not a question. "Yes, and you're Luna's father. Dominic Thorne, Alpha King of the Shadow Territories." His gaze never left her face. "My daughter was taken from the palace 14 days ago. I've had every vampire in my territory searching. When I finally caught her scent, I expected to find enemies or a grave." He looked at Luna, then back at Mara. "Instead, I find her safe, warm, fed, and speaking fondly of a human who showed her kindness. She was freezing on my doorstep, Mara said quietly. I wasn't going to let a child die in the snow. Even a vampire child? Dominic's voice was carefully neutral. She's 4 years old, Mara said firmly. That's all that mattered. Something shifted in Dominic's expression. Surprise, perhaps, or reassessment. Luna tugged on his coat. Papa, Mara wasn't scared of my fangs. Everyone else screamed, but she just gave me soup and called me Luna because I came in the moonlight. Dominic looked at his daughter, then at Mara again. You named her? She couldn't remember her name, Mara explained. She was terrified and confused. Luna seemed appropriate. Her name is Serafina, Dominic said softly. But she's always been called Luna by those who love her. His voice grew rough. You couldn't have known that. Lucky guess, Mara said. Mara has a gift, Luna announced. She can feel when people are telling the truth. She said I was a good girl who got lost, not a monster. Dominic's eyes sharpened on Mara. An empath? Something like that, Mara admitted carefully. Revealing magical abilities was dangerous, but lying to this vampire seemed more dangerous. Interesting. Dominic stood, still holding Luna. You saved my daughter's life. Alpha Kings don't forget such debts. Name your reward. I don't want a reward, Mara said. I'm just glad she's safe. It's not that simple, Dominic said. Luna was taken by enemies who want to destroy my bloodline. They'll want to know how she survived, who helped her. When they learn about you, they'll come for me, Mara finished quietly. Yes. Dominic's expression was grim. Which means you're no longer safe here. Pack what you need. You're coming with us. That sounds like kidnapping. That's protective custody, Dominic corrected. You saved my daughter. I won't let my enemies murder you for that kindness. The Shadow Palace was nothing like Mara had imagined. She'd expected darkness, gothic horror, something from nightmare stories. Instead, she found elegant architecture, warm lighting, and vampires going about ordinary tasks, working, talking, laughing. It's beautiful, she said, unable to hide her surprise. Dominic, walking beside her with Luna on his shoulders, smiled slightly. What did you expect? Cobwebs and coffins? Maybe a few skulls, Mara admitted. Luna giggled. Papa says skull decorations are tacky. Your papa is correct, Mara said, making the child laugh harder. Dominic led them through corridors to a suite of rooms. Your quarters, bedroom, sitting room, private bath. You're free to move around the palace, but don't leave the grounds without guards. My enemies are still searching for Luna. They'll be looking for anyone who helped her. How long do I need to stay? Mara asked. Until the threat is eliminated. Dominic set Luna down. My security forces are tracking the kidnapping cell. When they're dealt with, you can return home if you wish. And if I wish to stay? The question surprised Mara as much as it clearly surprised Dominic. Then you'd be welcome, he said carefully. Luna's already attached to you, and we could use a skilled empath at court. I'm a librarian, not a courtier. We have libraries that would make you weep with joy, Dominic said. Texts dating back millennia. You'd have full access. Mara's heart skipped. Ancient texts were her weakness. That's bribery, she accused. That's incentive, Dominic corrected, eyes glinting with amusement. Think about it. For now, rest. Luna, say goodnight to Mara. Can Mara tuck me in? Luna asked immediately. Dominic hesitated, then nodded. If Mara doesn't mind. I don't mind, Mara said softly. Luna grabbed her hand and pulled her toward another door, the royal family's private quarters. The nursery was warm and comfortable, filled with toys and books. Mara helped Luna into pajamas, braided her hair, and tucked her into bed. Will you stay? Luna asked sleepily. I like having you here. I'll stay as long as you need me, Mara promised. Forever? Luna's crimson eyes were hopeful. We'll see, Mara said, though her heart had already made the decision. She read Luna a story until the child fell asleep, then slipped out quietly. Dominic waited in the hall, leaning against the wall. She adores you, he said quietly. The feeling is mutual, Mara admitted. She's wonderful. She's everything to me. Dominic's voice was raw. When she was taken, I nearly destroyed half the territory searching. I've executed 20 vampires involved in the kidnapping. There are still more to find. You love her very much, Mara observed. She's my daughter, my heir, my heart walking around outside my body. Dominic met her eyes. You saved her. You showed her kindness when you could have shown her cruelty. That's not something I'll forget, Mara Sinclair. I didn't do it for gratitude, Mara said. I know, which makes it more remarkable. Dominic pushed off the wall. Good night, Mara. Thank you for being exactly who you are. He left before she could respond. Mara returned to her quarters, mind spinning. She'd planned to stay a few days, maybe a week, but Luna needed her, and something in her chest tightened every time Dominic looked at her with those storm-gray eyes. This was becoming complicated very quickly. 3 weeks passed like a dream. Mara fell into a routine that felt surprisingly natural. Mornings with Luna, reading, playing, teaching. Afternoons in the vast palace library, cataloging ancient texts. Evenings with the royal family, sharing meals and conversation. Dominic was different than she'd expected. Yes, he was powerful, dangerous, capable of terrible violence. But he was also patient with Luna, kind to his servants, fair in his judgments. You're staring, Dominic observed one evening. They were in the library. Luna had fallen asleep during story time, curled in Mara's lap. Dominic had joined them an hour ago, reviewing security reports while Mara worked. I'm thinking, Mara corrected. About? He set aside his papers, giving her full attention. You. How you're not what I expected a vampire king to be. What did you expect? Someone colder, crueler, more monstrous. Dominic smiled without humor. I can be all those things when necessary. I've lived 800 years, Mara. I've done things that would horrify you. But you love your daughter, Mara said quietly. You protect your people. You value loyalty and kindness. Those aren't monster qualities. You see the best in everyone, Dominic said. It's a gift, also potentially dangerous. My empathy lets me sense truth, Mara reminded him. I know what you are, Dominic. I also know what you could be. There's a difference. He studied her for a long moment. You're not afraid of me at all, are you? Should I be? Most people are. I'm not most people. Mara echoed his own words back to him. Dominic laughed. A genuine, surprised sound. No, you're definitely not. Luna stirred, waking slowly. Papa? Mara? We're here, little moon, Dominic said softly. Luna sat up, rubbing her eyes. I had a good dream. We were a family, all three of us. Silence fell, charged and significant. That sounds like a very good dream, Mara said carefully. Luna looked between them with 4-year-old wisdom that was somehow ancient. Papa smiles now. He didn't smile before Mara came. And Mara laughs more too. You're both happier together. Luna, Dominic started. I want Mara to stay forever, Luna announced. Can she, Papa? Please? Dominic's eyes met Mara's. That's Mara's choice, little moon. She has a life outside the palace. Do you want to stay? Luna asked Mara directly. Mara's gift sensed the hope radiating from both father and daughter. They wanted her there, needed her there, in different ways. Yes, Mara said quietly. I want to stay. Luna launched herself at Mara, hugging tight. Forever and ever? As long as you'll have me, Mara promised. Over Luna's head, Dominic's expression was complex. Relief, joy, and something deeper that made Mara's breath catch. Then it's settled, Dominic said, voice rough. You're part of this family now, officially. Just like that? Mara asked. Just like that, Dominic confirmed. You saved my daughter. You've brought light back to this palace. You've made us both happier than we've been in years. Why would I let you leave? You're not letting me do anything, Mara pointed out. I'm choosing this. Yes, Dominic agreed, standing and crossing to where she sat. You are, which makes it mean everything. He offered his hand. Mara took it, letting him pull her and Luna both to their feet. Welcome home, Mara Sinclair, Dominic said softly. And for the first time in her life, Mara felt like she truly was home. The attack came without warning on a quiet afternoon. Mara was in the garden with Luna, teaching her about flowers, when alarms shrieked through the palace. Guards appeared instantly. Lady Mara, take the princess to the safe room now! Mara didn't hesitate. She scooped Luna up and ran, following the guard through hidden passages into the palace depths. The safe room was reinforced steel and stone. Several other royal family members were already there. What's happening? Mara asked. Assault on the main gates, a guard reported. The kidnapping cell. They've come for the princess. Luna whimpered, clinging to Mara. I don't want the bad men to take me again. They won't, Mara promised fiercely. Your papa won't let them, and neither will I. For an hour, they waited. Mara felt the battle raging above through her gift. Rage, fear, pain, determination. Then she felt something else. Something cold and malicious, moving through the palace toward them. Someone's coming, she whispered. The guard looked at her sharply. The passages are secret. Someone's coming, Mara repeated, more urgent. They're full of hate and they're looking for Luna. The guard moved to the door, drawing his sword. The door exploded inward. 3 vampires burst through, wearing black armor, eyes glowing red, fangs extended. Enemies. The guard fought bravely, but was overwhelmed in seconds. The lead vampire's eyes locked on Luna. The princess! Finally! Mara stepped in front of Luna, spreading her arms. You'll have to go through me. The vampire laughed. A human. This will be quick. He moved with inhuman speed. Mara's gift flared, not just sensing emotion now, but pushing it. She'd never done it before, never knew she could. But desperation unlocked something primal. She pushed fear at the vampire. Pure, overwhelming terror. He stumbled, expression going blank with shock. For a moment, He stood frozen. Then Dominic appeared like vengeance incarnate. He tore through the enemy vampires with brutal efficiency, moving so fast Mara could barely track him. Within seconds, all three attackers were dead. Dominic stood in the wreckage, covered in blood, chest heaving. His eyes found Luna first, making sure she was safe. Then Mara. "You used power against them," he said. "I pushed fear," Mara admitted. "I didn't know I could do that." "You're not just an empath," Dominic said slowly. "You're an emotional manipulator. That's incredibly rare. I just wanted to protect Luna." Dominic crossed to them, pulling both Mara and Luna into his arms. "You did. You protected my daughter when I wasn't there. Again." Luna was crying, overwhelmed. "I was scared, Papa." "I know, little moon, but it's over now. The attackers are all dead. You're safe." Dominic looked at Mara over Luna's head. "We need to talk about your gift, about what you did. But first..." He kissed Luna's forehead, then, before Mara could react, kissed her too. Brief, fierce, claiming, "Thank you for being brave, for protecting what matters most to me." Mara was too stunned to respond. Dominic pulled back, smiling slightly. "We'll discuss that too. Later, when my daughter isn't having a crisis." He carried them both out of the safe room, toward the family quarters, leaving Mara's mind spinning and her heart racing. Everything had just changed. Again. The aftermath of the attack took days to resolve. Every member of the kidnapping cell was dead. The threat to Luna was finally, permanently eliminated. Mara spent those days processing what had happened, both the attack and what came after. Dominic had kissed her, in front of witnesses, a clear, claiming gesture in vampire culture. He found her in the library 3 nights later, after Luna was asleep. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "About you kissing me in the middle of a crisis?" Mara asked. "About me kissing you because I've fallen in love with you and nearly losing you made me stop pretending otherwise," Dominic corrected. Mara's breath caught. "Dominic, you don't have to reciprocate," he continued, moving closer. "I know this is complicated. You're human. I'm an 800-year-old vampire king. You came here to protect Luna, not to become involved with me. But I need you to know how I feel." "How you feel," Mara repeated. "I love you," Dominic said simply. "I love your kindness, your courage, your gift for seeing the good in people. I love how you treat Luna like she's yours. I love how you've brought light and laughter back to this palace. I love everything about you, Mara Sinclair." Mara stood, crossing to him. "You love me. Completely. Even though I'm human? Even though I'll age and die while you stay young?" "There are ways around mortality," Dominic said carefully. "If someday you wanted transformation, I might," Mara interrupted. "Someday. When I'm sure this is the life I want permanently. Can you accept that? Me being human for now, maybe years?" "I'd wait centuries for you," Dominic said. "Decades is nothing." "Then you should probably know," Mara said, smiling, "that I love you too. I have for weeks. I just wasn't sure if vampire kings fell in love with librarians." Dominic laughed, pulling her against him. "This one does, desperately." He kissed her properly this time. Deep, passionate, claiming. When they finally separated, both were breathless. "So what happens now?" Mara asked. "Now we build a life," Dominic said. "Together, you, Me, Luna, a family. I like that plan. Luna appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Are you kissing? Does this mean Mara is staying forever now? Yes, on both counts, Dominic confirmed. Luna squealed and ran to them, and they both caught her, lifting her between them. We're a real family? Luna asked. We're a real family, Mara confirmed. 5 years later. Mara Thorne, she'd taken Dominic's name at their bonding ceremony, sat in the palace library with her daughter. Luna was 9 now, learning to read ancient texts, clever and kind and everything Mara had hoped she'd become. On Mara's 33rd birthday, she'd chosen transformation. She was vampire now, immortal, bound to Dominic for eternity. They'd added 2 more children to their family, twins, a boy and a girl, currently napping in the nursery. Mama? Luna looked up from her book. Do you ever miss being human? Sometimes, Mara admitted. But I don't regret the choice. This life, this family, it's everything I never knew I wanted. Luna smiled. I'm glad you weren't scared of my fangs that night. Me too, little moon, Mara said, pulling her daughter close. Me too. Because sometimes, the greatest love stories start with a simple act of kindness. And sometimes, not being afraid of fangs leads to forever.